If we can have your attention, please. We are very honored to be able to welcome Mayor Rahm Emanuel to greet us in his great city. Mr. Mayor, I know you know some of our colleagues, Lowenstein and others here, and we're grateful that you're here. The Central Conference of American Rabbis is composed of 2,200 Reformed rabbis in the United States, Canada, and throughout the world, the largest and oldest organization of rabbis in existence. We're honored to be in your city, and honored to have you in our presence. Please come forward and
first of all, I would just like to say I've never had these many rabbis stand while I'm talking. In fact, I don't think I've had a single rabbi stand while I'm talking. There's a lot to being mayor that's similar to being rabbi. You're used to people just yelling at you. We have a special bond. And then we're supposed to refer to them as either congregants or constituents. Let me, on a serious note, welcome you to the city of Chicago. Wow, much to do a Jewish gathering, a lot of smartphones all up, trying to figure out how to make it work. I've never seen a greater gathering of Jewish motor skills than happening right now. Is there a 15-year-old in the house? You like that one? Yeah. Usually we ask for doctors, but when it comes to technology, we ask for a 15-year-old. Hey, while you're here, do me a favor, go outside, spend some money. I could use it right now. Second, let me address a few things. Now, I know this is not either a temple or a synagogue, but usually when you all are speaking, you speak from a podium, or rather a pulpit. I speak from a podium. And I grew up in a home appreciating the separation of church and state. I respect that. But I firmly believe that if we're going to get either my city or any of the cities that you're from to where we need to go, both the podium and the pulpit are going to be headed in the same direction. And while there are differences, and there are fundamental differences, there's enough commonality to be coordinated. And I say that also because I think about this. I'm speaking here, and we're coming up to the Passover season, where it's an important holiday for our people. It talks about a lot about passages. I don't need to tell the rabbis what Passover is. I usually leave that to my staff. Not one Jew there can tell me. But let me say a couple things that I think are important as the mayor of the city. You guys are places, you're leaders, religious leaders, and leaders in your own communities. You are in a part of the city. If you drew a 2-mile radius around downtown Chicago, it's the fastest growing central business district in all of America, by a factor of 2 to 3. Not me, Cranes says that, Cranes Business. Now that's an exciting thing. But the measure for me as mayor is not what happens in that 2-mile radius. It's a measure of whether a child 3 miles out, 4 miles out, or 5 miles out, who when they walk out of their school, walk out of their home, or walk out of their place of worship, and looks down at this majestic, unbelievable downtown, with this incredible skyline against an incredible natural backdrop called the lake. And whether they think that that energy, that optimism, that power represents their future, or that the only future they have is what's in front of them. And that's the measure of whether we will be a great city. We have the best museum in the country. Not me, I'm biased obviously, but the Art Institute was voted the best museum in the country. As a former ballet dancer, I am really happy that the Joffrey Ballet and the Hubbard Street Dance Company are here. But you won't be a great city. I hope that's not an editorial. But it is a show, and it does prove perfect that what I said, Jews and technology. Let me introduce you to a light switch. But the real measure will be when a child does, or an adolescent coming out of that high school, looks downtown, and whether they will think that what they see is part of them, not that they have to work downtown, but whether they think that the city's future, which is unbelievably dynamic, holds them, embraces them, includes them, or they think the only future that they have is what's in front of them. And it can be a geographic gap of 2 miles, 3 miles, 4 miles, but it cannot be an opportunity gap. And the single most important door a child walks through for their education is the front door of their home. And if they walk through a front door of home, and a front door where they place of worship, and their front door of their school, and they're all unified on giving them the right moral education and understanding the value of an education, there is nothing that will hold that child back, regardless of the circumstances where they were raised. Nothing. Now, as I said, now the good news for us is when I ran for mayor, 55% of our kids were graduating and 45% were dropping out. Last year we hit the highest record ever, 65%, and in 3 years we're going to be at 80%. A record number. Meaning more kids are going to college than ever before. This is a city that has also the most winners of the Great Scholarship Foundation and Scholarship, 36. Never bet against a child who has a parent that's involved in their education, a teacher that motivates them, and a principal that's not scared to be held accountable. You have an extremely powerful voice to place in the role of social justice and economic justice. And the most important role you can play is making sure that our educational system lives up to the goals and values that we have as Jews. Nobody in this room would be there, none of us would be there, if it wasn't not only the love of our parents, but the importance of an education. I ran for mayor because I believe, A, you can change the education system, and B, it was worth fighting to change. We now have a full school day, a full school year for every child in the city of Chicago. We no longer pick between math or music. Our children get math or music because of a full school day. We no longer pick between arts or arithmetic. Our children get art and arithmetic. It is no longer a false choice. We, for the first time, have universal kindergarten in the city of Chicago, and without federal support. Not a single penny from the feds or the state. We used to have 20,000 kids would get 2 hours a day. It was the most expensive babysitting in America. Every child now gets 7.5 hours a day. And 3/4 of our children, who are the ages of 3 or 4 that are at poverty, are now in full-day pre-K. Not a single buck from the feds or state. And my fundamental belief about education is that kids start dropping out of college in 3rd grade. They start dropping out in 3rd grade, which is why we have to start when they're 3 years old. Because the real measure of success will be whether they can read in 3rd grade. Because if they can, it's a depleting chance to turn them around. Listen, I came here because your voices are important in your respective cities. Your voices are important to remind us of our values, and your voices are important to also remind us of why we were here. And what I mean by here, and I'll close on this comment, my father used to do this to all of us when we were getting bar mitzvah. Or as Mark Twain used to say, at 12 I concluded my father was a fool. By 18 I was shocked what he could only learn in 6 years. So I thought it was all nuts. Until I had my own kids and I decided, you know what, I'm going to stick with that quote. It's not a bad quote, which is, who are you if not for yourself? What are you if you're only for yourself? And if not now, then when? There are 2 books that I think are essential, which is why I've chosen Public Life. One is the history book, and the other is the guest book. And you have to decide in life which name yours is going to go in. And I think the history book is worth going in. Thank you.